Yeah, the next one would be Capricorn, which is the skeletal structure and the bones.
Doesn't that have to largely do with why people get into gymnastics or why people do the Olympics?
Yeah, flexibility, kind of. The need to. Capricorn really has to do with,
The miracle of the body?
sure, nature, in a way that leading a group, and organizing a bunch of
All right.
information, a bunch of subordinates. So
Okay,
Capricorn
so-
is the way of putting things in a box.
Okay, so Christianity, for example, would say that the desires of the woman are crucified and left at the cross, and
Libra.
and then so she's supposed to try and suppress her emotions when she gets her period or something like that, and
I don't think-
and then just go along with the man. This is like a extrapolation of the Christian view. So give me a non-Christian kind of definition.
Of a box, you have a bunch of food,
Mhm.
and then you say to the waiter, "Can I have a box for that?" And they put it in a box, and it's Capricorn.
So are we suggesting that this is like saving up for a time of emergency?
What do you mean?
Are we saving food in boxes for a time of emergency at the Capricorn time of year?
Well, it's like storing nuts.
Okay, so a squirrel stores nuts. And why does the squirrel store nuts?
Because winter's coming.
Okay.
Remember, Jesus dies for 3 days and then resurrects.
All right. Well, what if Capricorn really had something to do with torpor? Because
What?
it's called torpor. It's a phenomenon in small mammals like the eastern woodchuck, Marmota momax, and what the eastern woodchuck does is in the males they all of a sudden heat up and start running around while they're still in the burrow in hibernation. So they sort of, well, not exactly run in their sleep, but their heart rate goes up and their hormones go up as if to prepare them to reproduce. So a squirrel storing up nuts might be akin to a woodchuck heating up the sperm for preparation for spring reproduction season.
Perhaps. The fixed Taurus is his nature. So when he goes cardinal, Capricorn is like carrying. So now he takes it and he adds it. This would be the mean one. Capricorn memes show up in society because he carries it forward.
Okay, so this isn't. So we're pretty sure that this doesn't have to do particularly with preparing babies, right?
Well, yeah, you can organize babies in the same way.
All right, so after the fact of reproduction,
Formatting.
then we would be saying it's the quiverful thing, like you're preparing your babies as if they're a quiver full of arrows to shoot against the enemy, as the Bible says. That's the Christian definition. So what would it be in non-Christian? You said the box.
Yeah. The
So
box to store things.
okay, the storage box. Okay, I see.
So when you say the
When
word,
Christmas time is over and presents put away, don't be sad.
so the relationship between the Capricorn climb
About
is
this
what is poured down from Aquarius, the water bear. So as you climb up, there are different themes.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so we're talking about like Captain Clerk is climbing the mountain, and why is he climbing the mountain? And so he's essentially playing with death in Star Trek Five.
Yes.
And
The cold death.
yes,
Cold winter.
yes. And
Opposition from Cancer.
Now, why
Everything
does-
that is safe.
why does Spock confront him on? what does Spock represent? Would be Cancer, Mercury at that point, because Spock is supposed to be the Mercury character. He's supposed to be complete intellect. All right. So, Climbing Mountain. All right. What comes after Capricorn?
Aquarius.
And why is Aquarius? All right. This would be the conspiracy theory kind of definition. Why would Aquarius be associated with cyber fascism and the Nazis, like Gestapo, SS, like the lightning bolts, and all these?
Because there's more electrical connection the higher you get into the. So picture the rungs of Capricorn like this.
Yeah.
And let's say more people, the more connected you are, the more electricity can flow down.
But how does it go to the point of insanity where it becomes a Borg collective or a Gestapo of sorts?
Well, it becomes a collective in Pisces.
Or like if the holograms take over the show, that's supposed to be like too much Aquarius, if you will. Because there's an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation in which holograms do take over the ship, and they state their demands.
Okay. Yeah, kind of. So Aquarius could be the idea of fate.
So, okay, so why are people with strong Aquarius energy thought of as merely able to be expressives or artists or like socially inept autistic people or whatever?
Because Aquarius is about how you organize the definitions in your mind. So
Okay.
you use the air to communicate with people through Libra, and Gemini is where you transfer words between all the twins in your life.
So how could it be possible that you and I could be both speaking English, but neither of us would understand what we were saying, and we were both sure of what we were saying, but there was just no way to get through?
Emotion.
And so why would an Aquarius be, or somebody with strong Aquarius energy be thought of as highly emotional?
Oh, well, they actually seem more detached.
Well, okay, all right. Let me cut to the chase. Are they gay with respect to the rest of society?
You're giving a church definition as an outsider.
Yes, a church definition. Well,
Like
Michael
Aquarius
Savage
are
would
the
say
outsider.
gay fascists. That's what he would say.
What you just said is kind of close to the Aquarius energy in relation to everything else you said.
Okay.
So Aquarius is that, but everything gets poured forth through Aquarius. Everything about life.
So why would someone with strong Aquarius energy suddenly flip into this extremely harsh commander role, if you will?
Okay, because Aquarius is opposite Leo. So when you're not shining, you go to do something sarcasm. Sarcasm.
You use sarcasm because you're annoyed at the inconsistency.
Yeah.
So then
it's like the South Park episode Sarcastaball. How far in would they play it out? So there's yes, this is my favorite game ever.
So you
and they can't get off of it. And pretty soon they're living in a foreign place where they don't want to live, foreign people who they don't want to live with, doing things they don't want to do.
Are you familiar with Tuquoquom?
No.
Tuquoquom is a type of non sequitur argument. It's supposed to be a logical fallacy in which you accuse someone of hypocrisy in response to accusing them of hypocrisy. Or I mean, in response to them accusing you of hypocrisy.
So we could call Aquarius I was going to say that would be the paradox.
So-
paradox
so
would
like-
be Gemini.
So, like, because the Aquarius seeks consistency, it wants a utopia or a dictatorship or something like that.
That's why it likes humanity but hates people.
Okay, what if we framed it in terms of like Agenda 21 or something like that?
Yeah, Agenda 21 would be poured through Aquarius.
And would the Venus Project be considered Aquarius as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And so, why does Aquarius need consistency rather than hypocrisy?
Consistency. Because they have their own wavelength. Anything that reflects down here, they're going to be sarcastic to.
Okay.
They're going to be the people we don't want to see.
Okay.
Because you're trying to dissolve them.
Let's go back to Christianity once more. You hypocrites, Pharisees, vipers, brood. You cannot enter the kingdom of heaven because you're bound by the law that you've toyed with. So if you toy with the law, then it's going to come back to you.
It might.
So what's more important? You making the sacrifice, or the fact that that a sacrifice is made? So is it the altar or the sacrifice?
Well, that would be the surrender, which is Pisces energy.
Okay, so he's trying to drive them away from Aquarius.
Well, Aquarius is trying to lead back to sleep, back to
the
void.
impact.
Yes, the void and the hole are both one.
There's an episode of Star Trek Voyager entitled "The Void,"
Mm-hmm.
yes, in which they find a place without any stars.
Yeah. So Pisces would be the act of trying to run away.
Okay. What
Of
are
trying
they
to
run away?
sleep, of trying to be avoidant. They're just trying to get different energy going. They don't like the current inertias. They're just trying to cause it. 15-degree Pisces is an officer drilling his sergeants in a simulated attack. So it's saying, it's like a warning sign, the Coldplay song. If you keep thinking towards this direction, these are the experiences that you'll have.
And the sign blasted out this morning. Is that what Berkeley? Or hey children, watch that sound. Everybody let this phone down. So, let me think here. So go back to what you were saying about Pisces again. So how does Capricorn lead in Pisces?
Capricorn is...
You're carrying the box and you're climbing the
yes,
mountain.
but people are coming with you on the box.
Okay.
You're leading a meme
Uh-huh.
in the world.
Okay, well, of course, in the Christian sense, you're standing on a preaching box, a pulpit, if you will, and you've got tools to use to convince the people to come to Jesus or something like that.
Then Aquarius is likened to the filtration device that brings people to their own more resonant.
Do you argue with your pastor in the Christian sense in Aquarius?
Yes,
Okay.
you do in Sagittarius as well.
Mm-hmm. And then how does Aquarius get to Pisces?
Aquarius gets to Pisces because mutable water. So it's like passing out the water. Here's your emotions, here's your emotions, here's your emotions, here's your emotions, being poured down through the filtration system of the Aquarius energy.
Oh, okay. So are we saying about leading a nation with a microphone and then feeding 5,000 people because they've agreed to live under the collective?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then that leads us directly into Pisces. Then what's Pisces again?
Pisces is dissolving back into the one.
Dissolving back into the one. Okay, so I and my Father are one, and my Father's in me, and I am in Him.
Where I am, there you may also be.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so then at the end of Pisces, we have a first death, and then a resurrection. The resurrection will be the new initiation in Aries.
Mm-hmm.
So, what would be sort of like a non-Christian interpretation of this point at the end of Pisces?
You meet somebody new.
You meet somebody new.
Vibration.
Oh, yes.
Vibrationally, it might not come.
Or what if you separate from somebody that you knew?
Mm-hmm.
Because your point of attraction is leading you somewhere else,
Yes.
So it's too late, baby, now it's too late. Now we really did try to make it. Something inside has died and...
Yes.
Okay. So what is it in you that dies? all the joy within you dies. Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Yeah.
What
Okay.
dies is a little bit of your ego.
Okay.
Definition of
Oh yes. And die a little bit to be in love. Oh, cry a little bit to be in love. Day and night, night and day. It hurts to be in love this way. It hurts to be in love. um, okay, and then how do we get from Pisces to Aries? That's supposed to be a tricky one, isn't
From Pisces to Aries.
it? Is this the point where the
You wake up in the morning. The call to action.
okay, so in Christianity, the tombstone's rolled away, and then Jesus pops out. Then he appears to the disciples in little bits and pieces, and then he says, "Okay, I'm here. I've not yet returned to the Father yet." What does that really mean?
Not yet.
So he's sort of like a ghost. He's sort of like a ghost, if you will. Oh, it's like when Spock says, "I'm looking at a ghost" when he sees Cybok.
That's saying we can reach the deepest
So
vibration.
his old vibration was undisciplined emotion. Cybok represents undisciplined emotion. He's like an evil Jesus, if you will.
Yeah.
Interesting. So would Cybok represent more of Neptunian type of energy, or more?
I don't remember which one Cybok was.
He's like the evil Jesus figure that has the cult based on coming to grips with your pain, and then after you suffer your pain with someone else, then you become stronger from it.
See, I thought Cybok was still the hero of the story.
Well, let's say you continue reliving your pain again and again, and you experience these periods of first death and rebirth again and again until.
Let's say it was the virus consuming itself. Purple People Eater.
Okay. Yes. Great song, huh? Purple People Eater.
Yeah.
What do you mean the virus consuming itself? So it's almost like
it fights within. It's the idea of being.
If I could suggest an alternative way of saying that, an alternative meme, the bacteria creates alcohol as it ferments whatever you're cooking, and so it not only ferments whatever it is, but it also destroys itself because it releases the alcohol, which kills itself.
Yes. Yeah. So each of these things that has some darkness in it is going to face opposition, which is going to put it in ideological subversion, and somebody else is eventually going to come along and steal it.
So there's going to be a new Christ, essentially.
There's always going to be.
Well, I mean, it's still the same Christ, but it just keeps taking new manifestations of the same Christ. So, is it useful to still consider the idea of self-sacrifice in Pisces?
If it's valuable to you.
I would say it's more of a Christian value.
Self-sacrifice. Okay,
yes.
Then don't call it that. Call it dissolving. Call it finding your own freedom.
Dissolving.
Your own definitions that get you to Pisces energy.
Okay, well, at the beginning of every Star Trek episode, the main point is the beaming down. So that would be theoretically a symbol of dissolving.
Mm-hmm.
So you beam down to a new planet, and you've got a situation on your hands, and you're responding to a distress call, probably like a retrograde kind of situation, and then you're trying to bring them up to vibrational speed, if you will. That's why they have to beam down, because they have to
into sleep.
Yeah.
So a lull. Yes, you could say there's a vibration that you call sleep and dream.
Yeah.
That you try and morph life in the image of that.
Exactly. And then throughout the episode,
so you want the best Pisces. These are all Pisces words, kind of.
Throughout the episode, they work their way from Scorpio back to Pisces again.
Yeah.
And then they get the new initiation at the end of each episode.
Come break me down, bury me.
Yes. So, why would why would astrology be considered more secular thinking um, than Christianity, or is it?
Mm, you consider it that way. I consider this its own thing. I can map it in here. It's a way of mapping my mind through Aquarius
So
energy.
you're mapping these things with respect to each other, but but not with respect to say um, globally picking out um, connections to other systems.
Well, we can do that through this, but it's our relationship to those systems.
Okay, so it's almost like the different structures within proteins. So you could have a superstructure and you could have a substructure, which resembles the superstructure and the outer structure
Mm.
surrounding the protein wall. Okay. The string cheese theory, or whatever, the spaghetti theory, Big Bang,
Oh, rubber band theory.
rubber band, yeah. Okay. That's enough for now.